Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. This is part 2 and last 2 updates of the post where OP caught her mom and her husband in their marital bed, which unraveled more than 20 years of deception and ruined their families. If you haven't watched the first part yet, click the card above or the link in the description for the first part. Now to pick up with the story. For the 4th update. Update recaps, my ex accused me of also being unfaithful because he was, and wants a DNA test when our son is born. My aunt exposed multiple affairs in my egg donor's side of the family, and tried to claim it's genetic and hereditary. My dad and I's lawyers encouraged us to meet with my egg donor for evidence, and for closure, and this update deals with the answers we were given about her choices when we did meet. I met with my egg donor, dad, and our lawyers last evening. Essentially, my egg donor said she knew it was wrong but enjoyed the attention. The act itself was great, and she enjoyed the thrill of it. She kept sleeping with my dad because she enjoyed their financial stability and carefree life and wanted to stay married. She purposely slept with him after each encounter with my ex to ensure that if she got pregnant, she could pass the child off. She also admitted to enjoying the knowledge that my ex enjoyed doing it with her more than me. She then said that she is moving in with my ex to his new place and that she invited the boys to live with them. The twins have visited once since the affair went public and told her they don't like my ex and refuse to treat him like he's their father. She said eventually they'll come around once she's married to my ex and then she'll have her family back. I laughed out loud and told her she was delusional and needed psychiatric help. Then I told her I would be taking out an order of protection against her so she would have no access to my minor children. She called me a jealous and an ungrateful cow for not appreciating that she didn't terminate me and let me live. She said I should be happy that they didn't kick me out when I came home knocked up. She even had the nerve to say I should be thankful she kept my husband happy when I couldn't, so he didn't divorce me and leave me a broken and damaged good single mother. She then told my dad she suffered from postpartum depression after my birth, and my dad ignored it in her and made her feel alone, so she felt justified in hating me and to have affairs. She admitted to having multiple affairs from 6 months after I was born until New Year's Eve, and said she would still be doing it if I had not ruined everything. So, my 38 female and 34 female sisters may not be my dad's either. My dad is even more heartbroken and angry, but we did have both our lawyers present and we got it on record. My dad has already reached out to my siblings, but to nobody's surprise. I guess my 38 female sister already knew it was a possibility because my mom told her about both affairs when the twins were born, and she knew they might not be my dad's and kept it from us. My dad is devastated by that even more than losing his relationship with my mom. I'm not sure their relationship will ever recover. I genuinely have no clue what is wrong with my 38 female sister. My 34 female sister doesn't want a paternity test and said our dad will always be her dad. My dad is fine with that. Then I sent a message to my ex through my lawyer that I will be filing an order of protection tomorrow so that my kids won't have to go to my ex's house if my mother is there. Neither one has even attempted to find new housing either, so I guess she's planning to move into my ex-in-law's house. I really don't want my kids around that mess. He has yet to respond, but at this point I really don't care what he wants. P.S. My family knows about the social media posts, as do the lawyers, but my ex and egg donor have zero chance of a good outcome in the divorce, so I'm going to be petty and enjoy their anger about being exposed, so I'm leaving it up. They can stew in their filth and know that not only does our town think they're terrible, so does the whole world. And I have permission from my younger sister to share what happened last night, and I don't really care what my 38 female sister thinks. Now for more comments before reading the final update. This story just keeps getting worse with each update. The mother and the ex-husband are just plain nasty. The sister is a dum-dum. If mom ends up living with sis, how much you wanna bet she'll try her luck with sister's husband? I bet this sister is also a cheater as well, or just used to hearing about the mother and aunt cheating, that's it's normalized for her. People like the sister are far more common than I once thought. Usually when someone keeps up a long-term affair, one of the children knows about it and often comes to accept it if they don't snitch right away. 38 female was probably privy to some stuff as a kid. There was a story a few weeks back about a girl who kept her mom's cheating a secret, and then when her dad found out, he banished her along with his wife. That and the fear of destroying the family. I personally think it is borderline abusive to confide crap like this to a child. Okay, 17-year-old, but as you are forcing them to pick a side. And too often there are huge guilt trips laid on the kid to keep quiet. And now for the final update. Hello, thank you to everyone who has sent me chats and messages supporting me and asking how I'm doing. I do have an update. 1. I gave birth to my son in the beginning of April. He is healthy and I had no health complications. 2. At the end of March, I was able to get temporary full physical and legal custody of my kids. 3. My 14-year-old daughter asked me if I'd be willing to do family therapy with her and her dad. I did not want to do it. I fought it, but eventually I chose to do so for the sake of my daughter and her need to process everything and hopefully move on. 4. I learned a lot more about the relationship between my ex and my egg donor due to homework the therapist gave us. My ex did reveal more things which I believe to be true. A. My mom had actually tried to seduce him well before we were of age. From my ex's recollection, when my egg donor took over the youth group, I was 15 and he was a few months from turning 15. The group began then. She'd counsel him privately because he needed it. They kissed at some point when he was still 14, and that was all they did, meaning they'd make out during these sessions until he turned 18. It was right around the time of the first kiss that my mom convinced him to ask me out and date me so they could keep seeing each other without suspicion. At this revelation, I was both devastated. My entire relationship was built on a lie and my husband never loved me, and also a sense of relief knowing that I had absolutely nothing to do with their affair. The reason I believe this is true is that when he asked me out, I had to get permission from my parents to date. At the time, the rule was no one could date before age 16. My mom went to bat for me, or so I thought. We started dating right after he turned 15. The timeline adds up. Edited, my dad is currently looking into potential other cases of abuse and manipulation right now with the help of the church officials. Nothing has turned up, and truthfully, while I hate my egg donor, I find it hard to believe she would have the stamina to carry on multiple affairs with other boys. I think she seduced him knowing I liked him and wanted to feel superiority over me. Looking back, all of this makes sense. Her treatment of me and my children in relationship to her other grandkids. I think all of this was a seriously messed up case of her being narcissistic and punishing me for ruining her life. B. They did not have full consummation until he turned 18, and I guess that was his birthday present from her. C. My 22 female and 20 male children are still not speaking to him, which he has come to grips with and understands that they will likely never re-establish contact with him. D. The twins and I have reconciled fully. Now for the egg donor. After the last phone call with my aunt, I cut off contact with her and my grandmother. I was tired of my aunt trying to guilt-trip me into talking to my egg donor. My grandma is a whole other problem and is beginning to show signs of dementia and senility. She is still harassing my egg donor and calling her a woman of Babylon, which I'm okay with, but the other stuff she's doing and saying is not something I want to add to my life of stress. My 34 female and 42 female sister were the ones who helped me with labor and delivery plan. My ex knew what the plans were, but also that I did not want him at the hospital until I had already given birth and was in a better place for him to meet his son. He agreed to this. The day I went into labor, my 34 female sister took my 14 female and 5 female children to her home, while my 42 female sister was with me in the room. Apparently, my 14 female child needed something from the school and reached out to my ex to pick it up, as he was still on the official pickup list though he no longer is, and drop it off at my sister's house. My egg donor was with him when he took the call. He refused to let her come along, as I did not want my children around my egg donor. She apparently followed him in her car to the store and then my sister's house, and threw a temper tantrum on the front lawn of my sister's house. My ex broke up with her and told her she was too much drama and it just wasn't worth it anymore. And she flew into a rage and physically attacked him, and started destroying things in my sister's yard. The cops were called and my egg donor was arrested for DV. At that point, my ex, my sister, and I all took out orders of protection against her due to the instability and the situation. My ex moved into an apartment close to the HVAC company. My 14-year-old daughter has decided not to forgive him and told him that she didn't want to be around him currently, so only the 5-year-old visits my ex. He comes to my dad's house and visits her one weeknight and one weekend evening, when I take my other kids and twin brothers out for dinner. We've established contact through a custody app, and we'll be revisiting the custody issue in June. I will be pursuing full legal and physical custody until my ex can prove to me that he's done the necessary therapy and treatment he needs. I still hate my ex with everything in my being for what he did to me, from the time I was 15 until recently, but I hate my egg donor far more for what she did to us all. I do have some sympathy for him, and I truly want him to be okay for the sake of my younger kids. Yes, he has met his newborn son. He met him the night I gave birth. I also allowed my in-laws and brothers to meet him as well. The in-laws and I are currently setting up plans for the 14 and 5-year-old to have time with them, as well as times they can come visit my newborn. My ex is allowed supervised visitation at this point. Not a court-ordered visitation, but my wishes which he is adhering to as he does his therapy and rehab, and he gets regular time with the 5-year-old. He does get access to our newborn at least once a week if he comes with his parents and if he wishes. He's seen his son at least 6 times since I gave birth, and 3 in my presence. We're slowly rebuilding civilized communication. As for the other divorce proceedings, he's agreed to a mediated uncontested divorce, and I'll be getting half of everything, including the business. I'm choosing to sell my shares to one of my ex's workers who'd like to become a partner. The ex is happy with this, and I'll be happy to be completely rid of any ties to my ex. My dad was able to sell my old house. It didn't even get listed, as our realtor knew a family looking, and I have begun looking for houses about 45 minutes away from my dad. As for the egg donor, she has gone into hiding. Once the twins told her unequivocally that they'd never live with her and that they wanted nothing to do with her, especially after how she got arrested, she began a whole lot of guilt tripping and blaming them. She is now contesting the divorce from my dad and only speaking to him through her lawyer. As for my 38 female sister, she got a wake-up call from this whole thing when my mother called her and berated her for 45 minutes for not bailing her out of jail. Apparently, my 38 female sister has been going through fertility issues. Like I said, I don't talk to her and had no idea. And she's been stressed out and anxious and feeling bad about herself, which is why she let our egg donor manipulate her, because she felt good about herself when she was getting all the positive attention. When she wasn't willing to pay the money to bail her out, as she and her partner were saving up for another cycle of IVF, she realized that she was being manipulated and reached out to me. We have begun slowly talking again, but she is on my side regarding this all. She is also talking to my dad again, which for his sake, I'm happy that he is able to reconnect with her. Having my son, and by the way, we did the DNA test a few weeks before his birth, and he is definitely my ex's, has been a pleasure and joy. And he and my other kids and my support system of my dad and siblings has gotten me through this, and will continue to do so. I am hopeful that at some point I will be able to deal with my ex without anger and bitterness, seeing as he has trauma from what my egg donor did to him. I'll be okay. Like I said, this will be my last update on this, so thank you for all the kindness, love, and support. OP sounds like she's showing a lot of grace during an absolutely horrific situation. I'm glad she's got supportive family and friends around her. Well said. The mental gymnastics it took for me to understand this was enough. I can't imagine actually living it. Agreed. I'd like to think that, were I in OP's position, the discovery that her egg donor grew and used the boyfriend, now ex-husband, from a young age would help me to show that grace, since clearly the ex is a victim as well. Wishing OP, her children, and her father the best, moving forward from this nightmare. It does seem like OP tries really hard to keep that in her mind, and I can't imagine how difficult that must be. She must want to be full on rage mode, but instead has to temper that with knowing her ex is also a victim of this ordeal. So sad all around. Besides for egg donor, screw her. Damn, this is something even Jerry Springer couldn't come up with, even if he tried. I remember reading the first post and thinking this is too crazy to be true. But people are weird, but your own mother literally screwing you over like this. Insane, disgusting, and an oddly good read, lol. All the best for OP, hope she is able to come over these levels of betrayal. One of my aunts tried to her daughter's husband. When she didn't succeed, she accused him of cheating on her daughter. They were separated for many years, and they had a fling resulting in pregnancy during the separation, and now they, my cousin and husband, they are together and raising the already teenage kid born because of the fling. I may have been wrong, because that happened during the last 25 years, and I was too young to be given the details, but anyway, I could listen. Damn, also a wild story. Can't understand mothers like that though. Neither do I. I remember hearing her say that, you must forgive everything from your mother, because she is your mother. My mom stopped her right away, because she knew what was behind it.